Kia ora, it's Mike here, and I have with me Reverend Kathy Edie from Living Waters Wesleyan in Tamatea, Hawke's Bay. And this is the first in a number of interviews we hope that we'll be doing with different people who have led an evangelism program or resource that we actually have highlighted on our National Church website on the evangelism page. And we're doing that really just to get their experience, their learnings and reflections on the program that they embraced and that we've highlighted there. And we thought that would be really sort of helpful for us. And so greetings, Kathy, welcome. It's great to have you with us. And wow, thank you for the miracle of Zoom. Maybe we're not feeling that it's a miracle these days. We're getting pretty used to it, but it enables us to be able to talk in this way and connect. So thank you for coming on and sharing your reflections. And what I've asked Kathy to share on is a course, as I mentioned, that we have there highlighted called Long Story Short, which has been around in New Zealand for a while now. Now it's sort of homegrown. And Kathy, I was sort of impressed. I mean, you're still relatively new, Andrew, to New Zealand, but it's probably been a couple of years now. But, you got onto this program and obviously heard about it and embraced it reasonably early on. How, in fact, did you come across it?
So our local church had used it before at some stage. And so they had that. And when I started talking about wanting to do something like this, they all said to me, have you checked out Long Story Short? It's really good. I really liked the fact that it was homegrown Kiwi. I think that gives it a bit of credence in New Zealand that perhaps other programs don't have. Yeah,
that's great. That's great. And so when did you run the program, Kathy? Was it last year during COVID or?
So we started running the program at the beginning of 2020. COVID lockdown interrupted us. So we only got 6 weeks into the program at that stage. And we decided at that stage, as we were trying to cope with everything else, that we weren't going to continue it. Probably now I would just keep going on an online version, but we didn't choose to do that first time round. Yes,
okay. So you had to kind of interrupt it, well, it was interrupted, but you may well get back to it, or do you feel as though it's worth a try again, given the right context?
Definitely, I feel it was worth trying again. I was actually surprised by the number of our own people that came along just to, and got lots out of it too. Right. Because it does answer lots of the questions that people are just generally asking today. And it does so in such a way that it just makes you think. And so I really liked that.
Yes.
So yes, we will use it again.
So to follow on from what you're saying and asking questions around the content and format of it, it is video-based.
It is video-based.
Yes.
It is video-based. It also has a leader's manual that goes with it that makes it really, really easy. It's really easy to use and follow.
Yes.
There's lots of material that you can use. I ended up finding that I had to pick and choose what I used. We didn't use it all. But it also allows just for the free conversations between people. And so we were very careful, particularly with the people that were coming from our church, to go, we don't want you to over communicate in this. We want to allow other people to have their say and for it to be a safe place to allow. So it looks into some of the questions even earlier than Alpha, I think. So even though Alpha does look into it as well, this is almost like the pre-Alpha one.
Right.
But it was really good just looking at, if I look around my world, is there any evidence that there is a God at all? And so it's not saying you have to believe the Bible, it's just giving you things to think about. And I think in this world that's very pluralistic, that was a great thing.
Yes. Yeah, that's really interesting that you say that, Kathy. And so perhaps it starts with earlier sort of questions and reflections, or questions that have been asked, which Alpha probably assumes a little bit coming into it as a course. It quite early on deals with who is Jesus, whereas I think, if I can remember, with Long Story Short, it starts with just acknowledging creation and wow, there must be a God out there, God's handiwork in creation, and I guess wows people a little bit with just the scale and complexity of creation, which points to a creator. Yes.
And I think it looks at a lot of the different views that are around and goes, well, okay, you can have these views, but what if this is right? Is there anything that this is saying that is not correct? And you really do come to a point where you go, it makes sense. It makes sense that there is a creator.
Yes.
And well, if there is a creator and he wants to know us, then who is he?
Yes.
And so that's the take that it has.
Yes. And from what I remember too, and it's called a story, long story short, it takes you on a story, a journey of what the Bible.
Yep. So it takes you on the journey through, not specifically looking at different stories, but looking at God's story through history. Yes. And that is really interesting. I have to say the cinematography, all the filming and the locations that it went to are just amazing.
Yes.
That is something that everybody commented on. This is not just a boring thing that you sit and watch. There's been so much work that has gone into this, and I think it's been very well presented.
Yes. And Kathy, I understand too, there are little almost video vignettes which you can access, which are on questions that might come up, that people might raise.
So in the back of the book,
you can go into those. Yeah.
In the back of the book, they actually have frequently asked questions and things that people might ask. But there are also some little video vignettes, as you said, that answer these questions and give you a way of answering these questions. So if you have somebody that asks this in your group and you don't know how to answer it, it gives you a bouncing board, I guess, just to be able to go ahead there.
So just remind us again, Kathy, the context of when and how you and who came along. It was an outreach, but it was open to members of the church, and you just coach them on that in terms of being sensitive to guests that would come along. And yes, how did you feel that initiative went overall?
So it was a very interesting exercise. It was the first time I'd done something like that here. We didn't get huge numbers from outside, but basically we had presented it as, if you have friends that are asking questions or that you think might benefit from coming down this, invite them to come along with them, so that they're not feeling like it's a stark thing. We did do a meal as part of it, so to introduce the concept of community, and I think that community part of it is really, really important. So we didn't get huge numbers of outsiders that came along, but we did get some. And we did get some of those from the fringe of the church that came along, and some of them have become more regular and deeper in their faith.
Right.
Probably the one that is the most exciting to me was a young man who came along, and I used to look at him and think, you don't really want to be here, but his girlfriend was a Christian and he didn't want to upset his girlfriend. So he came along and he got baptized a couple of weeks ago. And that was
fantastic.
a really exciting step. You know, I have watched him grow from not wanting to be there to actually I'm enjoying church, and I want to know, to his comment when he got baptized was that he just wanted to be able to sit at the feet of Jesus.
How awesome.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful to be on that journey.
Yeah.
And seeing someone just open up to the Lord, and, you know, and all these pieces are a part of that. And yes, a course like this can open their eyes and open their heart as well.
So you were saying about the difference between this and Alpha. I actually think we're going to run Long Story Short 1 year and then Alpha the next year, and then chop and change between the two.
Yes.
I think even though there's a lot of similarities, they do dovetail really nicely together as well.
Yes. Yeah. That's great, Kathy. Thank you for those reflections. And it is a video based, and it's got booklets and material, but you can access it, and even people can access the talks, can't they? It's all
available online now.
Online,
yeah.
That's great.
That makes it really easy.
Yes. Very good. Well, thank you very much, Kathy, and yes,
you're welcome.
All the best for next stage of your evangelism ministry there. And
thank you.
Thank you for giving us a bit of an understanding and a better idea of how to, when to use Long Story Short.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
God bless. Bye.
Bye.